Hi, my name is April Bogle, and today I want to dive into a concept that's central to our healing journey: orphan parts. What does it really mean, and why does it matter? Let's unpack this together, because understanding orphan parts can transform how you approach your emotional and mental health. An orphan part is a piece of ourselves that splits off during moments of extreme emotional distress. Think of a time when you face something deeply painful, maybe a traumatic event, a betrayal, or overwhelming stress. When we can't process that experience or find resolution, it's like a stress loop in our body and the mind stays open. We don't fully digest that moment and it lingers unintegrated. You call it trauma, an undigested life experience, or a biochemical overload of stress hormones. It's all pointing to the same thing. Our body and mind, in an attempt to cope, fragment. A part of us gets orphaned or set aside because holding on to that pain feels too heavy. In parts work, this is also considered an exile. This splitting happens for two key reasons, and they are both rooted in survival. First, when we push that emotionally charged part of ourselves, it hurts less. From a young age, we're taught in our culture to avoid emotional pain at all costs. Suffering is something we're conditioned to flee from, so we tuck that part away, hoping to lessen the sting, but it doesn't go away. It feels less overwhelming when it's not fully in us. Second, by orphaning that part, we can keep an eye on it. Sounds strange, right? But think about it. When we push that pain out, we stay vigilant, watching our lives to make sure something like that similar doesn't happen again. This hypervigilance becomes a survival mechanism. It's like our mind says, if I stay on guard, I can protect myself from feeling that pain again. And here's the thing. Dysfunction like this is brilliant for survival. It keeps us alive. But it's terrible for our mental and emotional health. It robs us of peace, joy, and the ability to live fully in the present. When we live with these orphan parts, we're on high alert, sometimes for years or decades. The hypervigilance shapes our lives in ways we don't always notice. For example, an abusive parent might become an abusive boss 10 years later. A mother's abandonment might resurface as a painful relationship 20 years down the line. These patterns aren't coincidences. There are orphan parts showing up in new forms, begging for resolution. This constant state doesn't just affect relationships. It impacts our work, our friendships, our finances, every area of our life. And over time, it wears us down. To cope, we reach for things to cope with the pain, like alcohol, gambling, food, sex, or codependent relationships. These are natural human responses to stop the emotional disturbance, but they only compound the problem. So how do we break this cycle? The answer is integration. Healing is about bringing those orphan parts back home, into our hearts, into our being. Instead of reaching for external fixes, we need to reach for these parts, love them, understand them, and welcome them with compassion. When we do, something beautiful happens. We stop living in survival mode and step into creation mode. We reclaim our peace, joy, and ability to live with purpose. We don't have to keep scanning for threats or numbing the pain. We become whole again. One of the most powerful ways to welcome these orphan parts back through is body processing. This modality helps us to tune into our bodies, release stored emotions, and integrate those fragmented pieces of ourselves. It's not about fighting the pain, but about creating a safe space for it to return and heal. So, as we wrap up today, I want you to reflect on this. What orphan parts might be showing up in your life right now? Where are you feeling stuck, hypervigilant, or disconnected from joy? Those are the clues pointing you to the parts of you that are ready to come home. You don't have to stay in survival mode. You're here to create, to love, and to live fully. Let's do the work of integration together. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you.